Dale Sports Softballs. If you want to hit like a legend, you gotta hit a legend.
It was like something I'd never seen before. It was the longest ball I've ever seen. You're at the Winter Snowball Tournament for the 17th year in a row. It's a madness that everybody enjoys. I have 34 teams this year. We've had up to 39 teams in these tournaments here. The guys dress all different kinds. They're here to drink a lot of cold beer, and the weather is great for the weekend. And everybody comes out and enjoys themselves. So guys are having a great time. We do this every year. They get together and start talking about summer softball here.
It's a crazy way to spend a cold weekend up here in Wisconsin, isn't it? While you folks in the South are enjoying a warm winter, we've had a resort to playing Snowball and, of course, watching the Green Bay Packers. It shows how powerful the grip of softball fever can be. While these Snowball players are major leaguers at heart, our video opened with a collage of some major league slow pitch hitters. Each of these players is capable of hitting close to 500 feet. Just like in baseball, the super or major level of slow pitch has featured great teams such as Rich's Superior, Steels, Lighthouse Worth, and of course Shen Valley. Legendary players, stars like Mike Masenko, Doug Brown, and of course current Worth sluggers Carl Rose and last year's national home run champion, massive Wendell Ricard. These guys are truly awesome. In an effort to learn how these athletes hit the ball so long and so consistently, our video crew spent the last year traveling throughout the United States. From Clearwater's Gulf Coast to the Minneapolis Metrodome, we met up with 6 of these major level players, and our cameras rolled as they shared with us the secrets of their hitting. Today, they'll entertain you with some impressive displays of power, but more importantly, they'll give you an education on hitting, showing you how to perform the swing that gives them a measure of distance and consistency unknown to the recreational player. What about our video's catchphrase? Can the recreational player really learn to hit a softball 400 feet? If you combine the technique you learn in this video with today's high-tech balls and bats, the answer is a resounding yes. I'm 43 years old, and after working on this video with these pros the last year, I'm hitting the ball much farther than I ever did at 25. Just think of how much you can improve. But let me put it to you a different way. If you fall just short of your 400-foot goal, just think of how insignificant the old 300-foot mark or your local league fence will be.
We're about ready to play our second game here at the City of Festivals tournament in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're going to take some time and break the swing down for you and look at some of the different techniques that we use at the super level. I've got Chris Gambrell with me. Chris is one of the young lions of the game. If you want to see some long home runs, just watch him hit. We're going to spend a few minutes and we're going to talk about the swing. We're going to break it down in layman's terms, and we're going to go through this step by step to give you guys an idea of just what goes on at the super level. Although there's a big difference in the way players at the super level swing from those at the recreational level, it's really a function of mechanics and technique rather than one of size. We want to take some of the techniques that we use, lay them out here and let you look at them, incorporate them into your game and let you raise your game to the next level. You may be amazed at just adding a couple of these key building blocks, what kind of improvements you're going to see immediately in your game. Later on in the video, we've got fellows that are going to talk to you about the grip and the stance and things like that. Right now, we're going to spend a few minutes and we're going to talk about the fundamentals of the swing. Those basic 2 or 3 elements that if you can incorporate them into your swing, you can swing like the super player. Now, don't be intimidated. Remember, this stuff's really simple. Matter of fact, it's so simple, even guys like Chris from Alabama can understand it. You'll notice as I walk up to the plate that my feet are basically shoulder width apart, and I'm assuming a basketball type stance. What I mean by that is my weight's evenly distributed and I'm not leaning forward or back. As I begin my swing, the first thing I do is pick up my left leg. Now let's take a minute here and make this simple. Let's forget about terms like transferring your weight and generating hip movement and things like that. The fact of the matter is, what I'm doing is picking my left leg up so that I can begin to squat down a little bit on my back leg and drive forward. And as I do that, I'm going to generate power as well as give myself a timing mechanism. All right, so once again, when I lift my left leg up, I'm still balanced on my right leg. Now this is my timing mechanism and my method to generate power into the pitch. It's very similar to the pitching motion. As a pitcher begins to throw home, he picks his leg up and drives into the hitter. We want to do that as a batter. Use that same motion to generate our power as a hitter. Because remember, we don't have a ball coming at us 90 miles an hour that's going to be the power for us. You have to create your own power to drive the ball out of the ballpark. All right, I've taken my stride and I've begun my swing. What you're going to notice now is probably the key element that some of you may not have ever understood before. And that's as I swing into the zone, my left arm and hand are going to do all the work. As I drive into the ball, my left arm is actually going to lock out. Notice the position of the bat. It's still dragging behind, but I've still got some movement with my right hand to do. At this point, you're going to drive your right hand over, snapping your wrists and generating bat speed along with the power of the drive of your left arm to knock that ball right out of the ballpark. Now notice the position of my hands in the bat head at this point. My left hand has basically completed its job. Now it's the job of my right hand to drive the bat into the zone. The old timers used to call that rolling your wrists. But basically what you're going to see at that point is where you generate all of your bat speed. That rolling of the wrists will zip that bat through the zone at an incredible rate of speed to generate the kind of power that you're going to need to drive the ball out of the park. Watch just how fast, from this point, I can make the bat head fly through the zone. Now it's that last 6 inches where you roll your wrist that propels the bat into the hitting zone. You know, as we've been talking about these building blocks, I've realized that these are a lot of things that guys at the super level really take for granted. You have to understand though that they put in a lot of time at the practice field. So these mechanics become second nature to them. They can for you too. As you go out and work at the ballpark with your buddies on taking your good hard rips in BP, work on these blocks and they'll become second nature to you. Soon, the only thing you're going to be worried about is where the ball enters the zone And these little techniques, throwing your arm, left arm out, locking it, and snapping the bat through the zone, they're going to become second nature and a part of your everyday swing. When I'm in a big ball game or a real good tournament, I don't ever think about the mechanical end of the swing. The only thing that I think about is the ball in my contact zone, and then I go out and attack it. Simple, isn't it?
My story is different from these other guys in that I didn't start playing competitive softball until I was about 27 years old. I was picked up in 1990 as a strength coach for Steels during their barnstorming days. I was on the road with Mike Musinko, Bill Blake, Monty Tucker. Watching these guys hit home runs every day, just incredible, and just gave me the incentive to learn how to hit these home runs. My best asset's always been my strength. I played college football as a tight end, but at 6 foot, I was a little too short to play in the pros, so I went on to competitive bodybuilding. Competed on the national level, and I always kept lifting. I've been limited by not being 6'4" or 6'5", but I've been able to develop power by packing muscle on this frame and developing a quick, explosive burst. I guess my current claim to fame is hitting the longest recorded home run in slow pitch softball, as recognized by Jerome Ernest and Supreme Softball magazine. It was hit right here at E.C. Moore Complex in Clearwater, Florida.
I was here one night, and it was a calm night. And Rick Lucas had hit over 2 home runs over the fence. And a couple of guys were going by. I said, you want to see somebody hit a ball? He was coming up to bat. He hit the ball. It exploded right off that bat. I never seen nothing like it. It went 30 foot over the top of that pole. Then it went over the 2 roads and into the nursery. It stuck right in the mud in the nursery. And I'll tell you, it was like something I'd never seen before. It was the longest ball I've ever seen. I'm 57 years old, and I'm telling you, it's the longest ball I've ever seen in my life.
I played at the AA and some super levels since 1993. I was a member of Steels in 93, 94, and 95, and also played for Belcher Construction in 95. I feel I've kept improving and know someday I'll be able to find the right team to make my mark at the super level. I became a good hitter by practicing a lot, lots and lots of practice. Probably hit 350 to 500 balls a week. It's real important to stretch before you start. I do different exercises with my warm-up bat, for instance, stretching out shoulders, stretching out your hamstrings, stretching out your legs. Just pretty simple exercises, but they're real important. Also your lower back, you want to do twists, both directions, and a real big part of that's your shoulders though. You want to get your shoulders really loose because that's the thing that starts and stops your swing. The unique thing I do in batting practice is that I use a reverse swing as well as a forward swing to warm up. And what this does is it warms up the muscles in both directions. It helps to prevent injuries by developing the muscle both ways. For example here, swinging forward this way and just a strong backward. I see so many guys with shoulder injuries that end their careers, and that's usually from this rear deltoid, which is used to stop the motion at the end of your swing. It's so weak and underdeveloped as compared to the rest of the shoulder that all the power ends up going right into the bone, and that's what causes all your bone spurs and everything. The thing I like in the bat is a thin handle with a small knob on the end and end loaded. I swing about a 32, 33 ounce bat. I like to be able to feel the weight out at the end of the bat. Having a bat that heavy gives you extra mass to drive through when you're hitting the balls. You notice a lot of the players take the leather grips off and we tape over the ends. That's because the leather grips get slick and get wet and wear out, and we retape the bats so it's comfortable in our hands. And also we tape the ends because we end up wearing out our gloves. I end up wrapping one finger off the end and one finger on the knob. The rest of the hand I move down to line up my knuckles. The idea behind this is it opens up my wrist so my arms can turn over a lot easier. When I have my stance set, my hands set, then I put the bat back as far as possible, kind of like loading a spring, so that when I start my swing, it's going to be one fluid motion forward. And I'm looking for a pitch that's out over the plate, somewhere around here. Once my arms turn over, I want to hit the ball so it's going to travel with the spin out of the park. Ah!
Hi, I'm Scott Holt. I play for Spectrum Pavs Easton from Minneapolis, Minnesota, one of the top 10 nationally ranked slow pitch teams in the world. It's 20 degrees outside. Boy, it's cold, but it's 75 and great in here. Today I want to share with you tips that I've learned that have consistently helped me hit the long home run. Today I'll be swinging my Easton C-Core. It's 327 feet from the home plate to the base of the wall, 50 feet high to the upper deck. Rumor has it that Ken Herbeck, former Minnesota Twin, hit a softball on the upper deck in a celebrity game. That's why I'm here, and that's what I'm gunning for. I was 14 years old when I played my first softball game. I was always a pretty good athlete. Played 3 sports in high school. I was an all-state football player. I started playing competitive ball at the B level when I first started playing. From then I went on to AA major ball. I've been playing that for the last 10 years. Last 5 years, I've been fortunate to play on Spectrum Pavs Easton out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we've won 3 national championships in USSSA softball in the past 5 years. Man, is this awesome. This is the same field Kirby Puckett graced for years. The Twins won 2 World Series here. What a great place to be. As softball swings go, I have more of a baseball-styled swing than softball. We were out in Seattle, and Walt Riniak seen a bunch of softball players hit and said, that's the same fundamentals that I teach as a one-handed whip swing. So it's more of a baseball style with a little softball in it too. This is a bat I'm currently using. It's an Easton C-Core. It's a new model. It's a 30-ounce bat, end-loaded bat. It's a bat I prefer to use. I stand straight towards the plate with both feet straight in. I'm not open or I'm not closed. I keep my front shoulders straight ahead at the target where I'm waiting for the pitch to come. You can't hold on to the bat, you can't swing it. What's comfortable for me is 2 fingers overhanging on the end of the bat. My top hand is my guide hand. I just rest it on my top hand, and I start my swing and I just use my top hand as a guide, and I finish my swing just like this. I release at the end and swing pretty much one-handed. One thing is your follow-through. They call it rolling your wrists. I don't necessarily call it rolling my wrist. I call it throwing my hands at the ball as it comes in. I throw my hands at the ball. The bat head will then come around, turning over. It's not an over-exaggeration of opening up and turning your wrist like this. I throw my hands first and then extend through. Okay, in summary, this is the way I hit my batting style. Stand with my feet shoulder length apart, facing the plate, stand a little bit ahead so I can get my pitch up in the hitting zone that I prefer. Grip is very important. Grip the bat the same way. My top hand is my guide hand. I wait for my pitch to come, and then I roll my wrists over as I hit. I turn with the ball with my hips, hands first at the ball. I usually release off, which not necessarily is right or wrong, but that's my style.
Hi, I'm Doug Johnson, Spectrum Pavs Easton. I've been playing with Spectrum since 1994. I've been fortunate enough to be with them when they won 2 world championships, in 1995 and 96. Another personal highlight of my career is being named to the all-world team in both of those years. I'm not a very technical guy when it comes to my swing. I try to keep it as simple as possible, and I never try to overthink it. First thing I do when I walk up to the plate is I get a nice smooth surface. You know, you can kind of feel that in your feet if you're not standing nice and level. I step into the plate, I take a deep breath, get relaxed, get my position on the plate. I like to be a little bit back because I got long arms. I like to extend through the ball, and then I always tell the umpire that I'll let you know when I'm ready, because you want to be ready when you're up to the plate, and you don't want to be caught with a quick pitch. So when I get ready, I get relaxed, and I tell the ump, okay, I'm ready. Then he'll tell time in and just wait for your pitch. I use a little bit of a different grip. I take my 3 fingers on my left hand. Those are the only 3 fingers on my left hand are holding the bat, with the pinky wrapping the knob. Then I come with my right hand, and the 2 fingers are riding on top of the left hand. The reason for that is I feel like I have less constriction as I'm coming through the ball. My wrists just kind of roll right through the ball when I swing. I've always kind of believed that making the bat as long as possible will give me more extension on the ball, so that way I can hit it harder and hit it farther. When I get to my stance, when I'm ready to hit, my feet are evenly positioned with my shoulders. My knees are bent a little bit. I got a little bit of weight on my front thighs. I bring the bat, I rest the bat on my shoulders, and about when I'm going to swing, the bat actually goes back a little bit. If you look at John Daly, when he swings a golf club, his club comes way back, and he feels he gets more whip that way, and that way he gets more distance. I feel the same concept on that. I also find that I'm getting my hands away from the body. Like I said before, I like to extend my arms as much as possible. So I'm waiting for my pitch, and I'm extending my arms. I'm pushing them away from my body. If I'm caught up in here, I got no power that way. If I get them out here and get them arms through the ball, I have no restriction at all. The arms will do the work through the ball. Through the swing, through the hitting zone, my hands are rolling over. And that's kind of a key factor in hitting a long ball. It gives you that nice, good underspin in the ball, which gives you maximum distance on your ball. So it's a good point to, and again, that comes all the way back to my grip again. My grip helps me roll them wrists over a lot easier than if I was holding the bat conventionally. And it's just one smooth, even swing. The main driving force through the swing is we get back to the same concept as throwing the bat over the fence. The shoulder and the arm is the pulling and driving force through the ball. And when you get to full extension, your left arm gets to where it can't go anymore, and it rolls the bat over and helps you get through your swing a lot quicker. The biggest problem I see in the recreational players or the lower league players is that the end of the bat is below their hands, and it drops through their swing, so it's almost making a V-shaped swing. The best way to remedy that, I would say, is to have your hand act as like a karate chop into the bottom half of the ball, because where this hand is, that's where the end of the bat is going to follow. So if you're acting as like a karate chop, then keep that hand parallel through the ball. This bat won't, the end of the bat won't go below your hands. You lose a lot of power if you let that bat drop below your hands. So the best way to think of it is just a karate chop into the ball, keeping the hand pointing like you're going to hit the bottom half of the ball with your hand, because the end of the bat is going to follow that motion.
Hello, I'm Mark Martin, and this is Mike Wismer. Today we're at one of my favorite places to hit, Seminole County Softball Complex in Orlando, Florida. Let's go crush some balls.
Yeah, sounds great.
Mike here is what we call a rising star. He's got a great swing and can really hit the ball a long way. He's got a great career ahead of him. I played at the super level since 1986. the highest level of softball in the world. Big boys, Riches, Steeles, Bell, Lighthouse, Shin Valley, that's where they play. It takes a lot of hard work and determination and a lot of luck to make it at this level.
Yeah, Mark's been real lucky.
Thanks, Mike.
I grew up in Harleysville, Pennsylvania, went to Satterton High School, played 4 sports there. Went on to Villanova University where I played baseball and was drafted after my junior year in 1989 by the Dodgers. Went on to play for the Dodgers for a couple of years and got injured and left them. And I actually went back home. The first I got involved with slow pitch softball, I was back home, went with my friends on a Friday night to play. They played the unlimited mat ball. And I said, this is crazy stuff. So then I eventually moved back to Florida where I started playing pickup softball down in around Vero Beach and played for an A team down there and met Mark Martin and ran into him, got to be friends with him. And from there out, he's helped me with my game a lot. And from there, I moved on to Belcourt 2 last summer where we had a real fine year and won the ASA Major. I played baseball all my life and played with the Dodgers in the minor leagues and always held the bat the standard baseball way. And I saw Larry Carter at the World Series a couple years back in Daytona. I saw him hit, had his hands overlapped and hit a ball long, long way. So I said from then on, I learned how to hit holding the bat like that. So I asked some people, and what their feelings are is you turn your wrist quicker here, which is you have more room for leeway for error, as opposed to holding the bat like this. Your wrists don't turn till you're up here. So your wrists actually turn, in my opinion, they turn quicker holding the bat with the overlap grip, generating more bat speed, as well as elongating the bat, because it makes the bat about an inch longer. The standard bat's only about 34 inches. Doing this, it makes it about 35 inches, so it adds a little bit more leverage to your swing. I pretty much, when I get in there, I get comfortable, somewhere I feel comfortable, a little bit more to shoulder width apart with my feet, a semi-open stance. The open stance will help me turn my hips and generate the power, because the strongest part of your body is from here to here. So I'm trying to use that and get a turn and get my hips turning on the ball. So I get my arms fully extended and meet the ball out in front of the plate out here. When I make contact, and then put the backspin on the ball and send the ball flying. Yeah. Some guys like the ball up top. They're real strong upper body. I'm not that type hitter. I use my quick hands to get a lot of bat speed. So I'm looking for the ball down, where I can utilize my strength hitting the ball, which is bat speed, and I like the short, flat pitch. The pitch up top, I'm not quite strong enough up top to drive that pitch as well. My pitch is the flat pitch, where I get full extension, use my bat speed and my quick hands to generate the power to hit the ball. I want to hit the ball right as I turn my wrist, because that will have the most bat speed that I can possibly have, which the ball will jump faster than any other point of my swing. I'm not a strong upper body person, but I have strong legs. I try to use my legs and get a strong drive off my back leg, and I go out and meet the ball. I don't want to get too far out. If I take too far a stride, I'm going to be lunging at the ball, and my hands will be caught back here and never get out in front. So I'm going to take a nice comfortable stride, about a little foot stride right about to there, so I get my hands out in front and meet the ball out front, where my body doesn't get out in front of my hands.
My younger teammates kid me that a semi delivers a truckload of ibuprofen to my house on a Monday after a long tournament. Whether you're an older player like me or not, warm-up is essential. When I approach the plate, I make sure I've got the grip that's most comfortable for me. I hold the bat a little different than most people. I don't hold it in the palm of my hand, I hold it in the end. And I hold the bat like this. And then I also hold the bat with my fingertips. I crush my top hand down on my bottom hand to increase my leverage, if you will. Then I take the bat and put it smoothly on my shoulder and get ready to hit. Pitch selection is the most important thing in the game as far as hitting the long ball. Here's where I like the pitch to be to drive it the farthest. If you'll notice, my bat head is way out in front of the plate and I've got full arm extension. Got that one.
Nice park, nice games, and good weather.
Roger and I are proud to be involved in the 20th annual City of Festivals NIT World Series qualifying tournament. We were here 30 years ago when the USSSA started. teams come because they know it's a premier event. This is considered the best softball park in the Midwest.
I can remember Machenko hitting one over the scoreboard into about a 40-mile-an-hour wind to win the tournament. I remember Mr. Green sitting on the left field fence pulling back a home run. Those are the kind of memories we have here.
Now what the USSSA does is this. At the end of every year they have a World Series for the best teams in the world. You can only get to the World Series by winning the AA championship or winning the World Series the year before, and then there's 14 qualifiers run during the year. Milwaukee City Festival is one of the 14 qualifiers. So the teams have to come to these tournaments to qualify. So there's only 14 of these tournaments starting in April and ending in September. So all the good teams know to get to the World Series, they have to win one of these 14. The NITs that we're running are very prestigious, and the World Series is culminated. It's considered, Sports Magazine said it's the premier softball tournament in the country right now.
The fans of Milwaukee, they love this home run hitting contest. They'll be out here in good fashion tonight, wooing and on.
Who will win it all? Let's get ready to rumble.
To give you a rare insider's view, the tournament officials have graciously given our North Star production crew, a D team at best, a berth in this super-level tournament. Also, 3 of our hitters will attempt to win the home run contest. Is there a Cinderella story in the making? I think not, but even the best hitters don't always win.
The Power Tours has got me bum-fuzzled right now. Last year, I was lucky enough to be the national home run champion, but the Worth Power Tour Home Run Derby is... I'm not even close. I hit 16 in a row in Savannah. I go on a hit off, and a guy beats me on his line drive, goes longer than mine, so we're going to try a little something different tonight.
Hitters go head-to-head. 5 pitches only. The most home runs win. If players are tied, sudden death continues until someone fails to hit a home run. If both fail, the longest fair ball wins. First round, the winners. Big John Cameron of the Texas Bandits eliminates Steve Toth. Jeff Jackson of Joe Blacks moves on to the second round. Our video's own Doug Johnson of Spectrum crushes the ball on his way to victory. Joe Ambrose of Joe Blacks advances as well. Scott Mao, North Star's first hitter, is in fact a ringer who once made a Power Tour Final Four, but he draws a blank with Scott Hilly, and in overtime, Hilly wins by virtue of the longest ball. Powerful Tim Williamson fights his opponent, and a hard win from right center to advance. Next, the best in the game. Big Wendell Rickard steps up and blasts 3 into orbit. His North Star opponent, a very nervous Travis Christ, just arriving in town after farm chores, has a nightmare, and it ends quickly. He wishes Wendell luck and vows to return next year and win it all. Spectrum slugger Lance Peterson beats Mike Skenador from New Berlin Grading. And finally, Jim Thurman of Herb's TPS hits 2 out and waits North Star's last hope, Ken Van Bogart. But in a big upset, Van Bogart hits out 3 and keeps North Star hopes alive. Round 2 action sees Dennis Mendoza of Lighthouse Worth looking impressive. Equally tough is Chris Sheffer, who goes extremely long in defeating Jeff Jackson of Joe Blacks. In a huge upset, Bob Sheese of Terabasi upsets Doug Johnson, and his fans go nuts. Veteran Doug Brown of A.J. Worth cruises to victory with this monster shot. And a suddenly red-hot Scott Hilly keeps things going for Jimmy's. Wow. Hot shooting Tim Williamson puts the pressure on Wendell Rickard with 3 home runs. And the big man's bad luck in the Power Tour continues as he's eliminated. Kevin Lundy of Terabasi advances to the next level. And missile shooting Scott Nichols eliminates North Star's Van Bogart. The final 8. Chris Sheffer looks great as he wins again. Doug Brown picks up steam as he advances. A big day for Jimmy's Easton as Scott Hilly stays hot and also advances to the semis. Lighthouse Worth's Scott Nichols blasts his way to victory. The Final Four features Chris Sheffer versus Doug Brown and Scott Hilly versus Scott Nichols. Sheffer hangs in tough with 3 home runs, but Brown clubs 3 of his own to force overtime. Sheffer's hard line drive is a nice shot, but not enough, as Doug Brown's travels farther. In a battle of the biceps, Hilly stays hot and cranks out 3 long home runs to put the pressure on Nichols. But the explosive Nichols is up to the task and drives 3 out into the wind to force overtime. Hilly comes through with a long home run. And a disappointed Nichols is sent to the sidelines. The finals feature Scott Hilly versus Doug Brown. An interesting contrast of Hilly's muscular, compact swing and the veteran Hall of Famer's whip-like strike.
Doug Brown, A.J. Worth, and Scott Hilly. There you go. From Jimmy's Easton in the final here, the Worth Power Tour.
Each player hits 7 pitches, but the confused Hilly thinks you only swing at 5 of 7. In a classy move of good sportsmanship, Brown waves off the pitch and starts over. But the overtimes have taken their toll, and Hilly can only manage 2 of 7. And now the veteran makes his way to the plate. He blasts the first, then the third. And finally the 5th pitch to become the Milwaukee winner of the Worth Power Tour. Handshakes and then the presentation from Mike Cunningham of Worth. Doug Brown advanced to the Power Tour Finals in September, which was won for the 3rd year in a row by Hank Yaris. Hank hit an incredible 37 of 41 home runs. Lighthouse, meanwhile, won the Milwaukee NIT and later the USSSA World Series. North Star was defeated soundly and watched the balance of the tourney from the comfort of the stands. Hear the thunder! Now that we've whetted your appetite for the long ball, let's see if any of our super level players can break that 535-foot mark. To break a record at will is almost impossible, so our men will have the best weapons available. The bulk of the balls are Core 50 Legend softballs from Dale Sports. Super hard, the covers are so tight they feel like they're painted on. The hitters brought their high-tech bats, using both the Easton Redline and Reflex C-Core, plus the Worth Supercell and Steel's XLT and Steel Belted. Also, we offered one of the last of its kind, the Worth Titanium. Interestingly enough, to show how far the bats of today have evolved, the 3 longest balls hit were with conventional bats, not titanium. Where the titanium carried out much more consistently on mishits, when the ball was struck properly on the sweet spot, the new conventional bats held their own. And now, on with the show.
The edge of the woods is 400. Ah! Ah! There we go. Something else, ain't it? Ah! There we go. Ah!
Shot, Rick.
Actually, that was a pretty good day. You'll find out that you can hit them consistently about 400 feet. Those shots, 475, 500, they come around once in a lifetime. All the conditions have to be exactly perfect.
The longest home run I ever hit was in a local tournament. It didn't seem like it was real far at the time when I hit it. It just seemed like another home run until it landed on a field that was adjacent to the one we were playing on. It hit the pitcher on the other team in the head. Someone measured it off and came over and said it was 440 feet from home plate to where it hit the guy in the head. It doesn't compare to the longest home run that I've ever seen hit. A couple years ago, playing in Salt Lake City against Bell Corporation from Tampa, Florida, a legend of the game, Billy Blake, hit a ball. It was a night game. had totally disappeared. It went over 500 feet. That was about the longest home run I ever seen.
I've seen some long home runs in my career. One of the ones that stands out was hit down in Daytona Beach at Jackie Robinson Stadium by Ricky Huggins. It went over the 375-foot mark, and it just like it kept going. It hit a car about 14, 15 rows deep, and I think if he would have had a little height on it, he might have cleared the parking lot. Longest home run that I ever hit was down at the 1996 AA World Championship in Salem, Virginia. The power alleys were about 340, I would say. Fence was about 30 feet high. The scoreboard probably another 15, 20 feet higher than that. Went over the scoreboard. There was about a 30-foot boulevard, and there was a road. It went over the road, and then there was some residential housing that had some trees. A guy had one big willow tree about probably 20, 30 feet into his yard, and it landed up on top of the willow tree. The guys kind of gave me a little guff about that I had a personal vengeance for willow trees, but it felt good. I didn't even feel it off the bat. I hit it so perfect. That's the way long home runs are. You know, you just don't feel them. Everything just clicks together, and the ball hits the perfect sweet spot on the bat, and it's almost like swinging through a cloud. The ball just flies. They don't come along too often.
Hi, I'm Brian Leiser at Valley View Park in Hollandale, Wisconsin, and I challenge Doug Johnson to hit a ball above the rocks in the outfield. I don't think he can do it.
I'll take the challenge.
Sleepy Little Hollandale, where the only excitement is when the dairy cows get loose on the baseball field. Featuring an imposing gray monster in left, it's 340 feet to the upper deck at a height of 22 feet. But back to the small pine, it's 27 feet high and 380 feet out. A monster shot.
Remember that pitch.
I know.
And don't lose that swing, Doug, because now we're going 10 miles away to Mineral Point. We've got a pool to shoot at and an elevated bank in left. It's 440 feet to the back wall of the pool in left center, elevated up 22 feet. But first, you must clear 18 feet of hill and fence at 310 feet just to get there.
There's something really special about a long home run. When I get in a groove in batting practice, I may hit 3 out of 4 balls out of this 12-foot high, 305-foot ballpark. Most of my home runs go between 340 and 380. In a ball game, I may hit 1 out of every 2.8 to 3 at-bats, but every now and then you put everything together and you get that tape measure job. My longest home run on the Super Circuit just happened last year. We were in Cleveland playing Shin Valley in the championship game, and we were getting drilled. I came to the plate, and it was just one of those frustrated swings, but it all came together, and I hit a ball way out into the night. Mike likes to tell me that he doesn't know if it ever came down. The most rewarding thing about that home run was as I went around the bases, even the Shin Valley guys came over to shake my hand and give me a high five.
The longest ball I hit was this year in Nashville against Riches in a big game on Saturday night. And Paul Drilling threw me a nice flat pitch like I like it. I got out and crushed it and gave a little ooh when I hit it. That was one of the fun moments of my career so far, was hitting that home run against Riches.
And how far was that, do you think?
About 4 miles.
Today, Mike and I are going to see just how much distance we can put on out here at Seminole. It's about 400 feet to the trees and left or over the berm and right. What do you say, Mike? Put a little lunch on this? Say ribs at Sonny's?
Sounds good. I know you're going to be buying.
Ooh. Well, we've just finished our hitting session. We've been out here about 2 hours, and Brett's got me measured out there in left field at about 470 feet, and Bogey measured Mike out there about the same distance. How are we going to settle this thing, Mike? How are we going to settle to see who buys lunch at Sonny's?
Let's wrestle for it.
Oh.
This is the Major Softball Report. I'm sure you players across the country have seen this paper plenty. The fellow here, over here, Jerome Ernest, has been the editor since 1977, writing the Major League Softball Report. You can find the official stats of the major leaguers, the best players in the world. Every week in this paper, articles about superstars of softball.
You get calls wanting to know, about this player, that player, what their stats are, what kind of person they are. I know most of the players.
The clippings you see in this video are not only from this legendary paper, but also from the Slow Pitch Game, the official newspaper of the USSSA. Robert D'Angelo, editor. At the end of our video, we'll tell you how you can subscribe to both of these outstanding publications.
I hope these gods of softball have given you the desire to reach 400 feet. Let's leave you with a few tips to help you on your way.
Videotape your swing. It'll be easy to see what you're doing wrong and to correct the flaws. And remember, the most common mistake of recreational players: you must lock out the arm and pull the bat into the bottom half of the ball with your lower hand. Practice. Just because you live in the north doesn't mean you can't hit in the snow. Bring a bat when you vacation and take a few rips. Supply yourself with the best equipment you can afford. Borrow a teammate's bat and see what weight and end load you prefer. Don't just buy because you think it looks cool. Make sure it performs for you. Get in shape by lifting and running year-round. Stretch each day to decrease injuries and increase flexibility. Swing a bat each day. Also use the reverse swing and swing opposite-handed. And hit off a tee to increase bat speed and coordination. Use resistance exercises such as hitting 14-inch balls or a heavy rope.
Be aggressive. You know, when you walk up to the plate, you know you're going to hit a home run or you know you're going to get a base hit. You got to give yourself self-confidence. If you go up there and you're not feeling good and you don't think you're going to hit the ball, well, that's what's going to happen. You got to go up there with the attitude that I'm going to hit the ball as hard as I can every time I step up to the plate. Yeah, you're still going to make outs, but you're going to make good outs.
Don't be discouraged. The more often you swing at the right pitch, the more home runs you're going to hit. If as a player you go 10 to 20 at-bats without hitting one, and then all of a sudden you put it all together and hit one a long way, well, that means you've got plenty of power. Just keep working on that swing and find the right pitch. Remember, the more often you take your best swing on the right pitch, the more home runs you're going to hit.